She led today's Senate hearings on big tech. She's also the author of the paperback version out, and the issue, Antitrust, it's now available. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bret.
So this is a big deal. It is moving forward. It is with a bill that you did with Senator Grassley. What is the prospects here, even though the White House has not weighed in?
Well, we have an incredibly strong group of authors, people that come from all different ideologies, from Senator Mark Warner and Dick Durbin to Lindsey Graham and Josh Hawley and Steve Daines, Cynthia Lummis, Mazie Hirono, Dick Blumenthal. We assembled this group while we may differ on a lot of stuff. The thing that we have in common is we believe you need to have fair competition. And right now you have these major platforms. Google has 90% of the search engine market. And we don't bemoan them success. We want them to be successful. But what happens with monopolies is they start hurting small guys. They start making it hard and promoting their own products. We heard from companies like Spotify and Match.com about how Apple and Google will charge so much on the app stores and make it really hard for them to compete. They can't even show that they can get less prices on the web. We heard about instances with Amazon where they literally rip off products. They copy products of small companies that are advertising on their site, like luggage organizers, and then the next thing you know, it shows up as Amazon Basic. That's just wrong. And so what this bill does is create those rules of the road to stop that kind of self-referencing behavior and stealing of data.
You know, from your book, Antitrust, you write, when people ask me as a senator what monopolies and antitrust policy have to do with their lives, the answer I give now is the same one I gave back then as I raked in the monopoly money rent on my railroads, everything. The answer is everything. Antitrust and monopolies have everything to do with our economy, the prices we pay, and the way we live. You know, you are going to face a ton of lobbying effort and money that is just pouring into Washington to stop this. Is it going to get across the finish line?
I just have faith. When I saw 16 senators, we had 6 people vote against it, and we had a spirited debate, and we'll always look at making changes to a bill. But 16 senators stood up to a multi-million-dollar lobbying campaign, 2,500 lobbyists. They literally had run ads against the bill, and that was a pretty good moment, and it was bipartisan across the aisle. The House, David Cicilline, Ken Buck have done bipartisan work over there. And the time has come. There's literally been no tech competition bill that has passed through the Congress since the advent of the internet. And so it is time to make sure we have an even playing field. Adam Smith always said he was a big supporter, godfather of capitalism, invisible hand, but you always had to watch out for the unbridled power of monopolies. That's what we're doing here in what I consider a reasonable way.
Well, we wanted to follow this, and it is a big deal as a bipartisan piece of legislation that we're following through Congress. I want to talk about a couple of other issues, and that is the president's news conference yesterday, a couple of cleanups and clarifications today, and a big one about Ukraine and Russia. You just returned from Ukraine on a CODEL, a trip with lawmakers. This is what the Ukrainian president tweeted today. We want to remind the great powers that there are no minor incursions and small nations, just that there are no minor casualties and a little grief from loss of loved ones. I say this as the president of a great power. Did President Biden undermine Ukrainian security yesterday?
I think President Biden made very clear, and I, by the way, started the day with Senator Portman, Senator Shaheen, Senator Kramer, many others, reporting back to the president. He met with the group for an hour and about what happened. And I think he made it very clear when he clarified his comments that Russia is going to pay a heavy price. Those were his words for any incursion. And as someone that visited the front line a while back with Senator McCain and Senator Graham, I was able to see firsthand, meet the widows who 14,000 people have died in Ukraine since this, what we'll call an incursion. It was a lot more than that. Invasion of Crimea, the invasion of parts of eastern Ukraine, and now he's threatening to do more. So why we want as this bipartisan unified group is we want to say, if you're betting on divides in Congress on this, don't bet on that, Vladimir Putin, because we believe strongly there must be swift and certain sanctions if there is an invasion. We met with Zelensky. We met with the defense minister. We assured them, as you know, that there have been lethal arms coming in from the U.S. and our allies to assist them. But they are against a pretty brutal force there in Russia. Go ahead.
Let me ask you just a political question. Why do you think President Biden's approval numbers are so low? Critics of his administration say it's because he's focusing on the wrong things, and the American people are expressing that. Why do you think it is?
I think that President Biden is a good man, and he came into office where I don't think anyone would want to do in the middle of a pandemic. And his first goal was to get us through this pandemic. It has not been easy. He got the vaccine out. He worked with Congress to help to stabilize the economy and everything from getting our restaurants stabilized to businesses across the country. He then moved to his number one priority was with infrastructure, worked with a bipartisan group of senators, and that bill passed. And now he has other priorities. And I know for one with my constituents, with the pandemic, people have gone through hell. Parents are still juggling their laptops on their desks and their toddlers on their knees. Their kids are going in and out of school, and that has to change. And how that changes, and I do see, as we say in Duluth, the lighthouse on the horizon, that we're going to get through this wave. We're going to get to a better place. And then we got to tackle issues that I don't think we talk about enough. Workforce shortage, which is a major contributor of problems across this country. And that solution is everything from getting kids into occupations where we got openings, making sure we're training workers where we need them in science and technology and manufacturing and construction. And then finally, I think we need to do something on immigration reform. Bret, you and I have talked about this before in town hall meetings during the presidential campaign. And I think that would make a big difference as well.
Last thing, and a short answer if you could. You don't think that the president has gone too far left?
You implying my last answer was too long? Go ahead.
Yeah, but just a little. But you don't think he's gone too far left with what he's been pitching, and you're not concerned that you're going to alienate Senators Manchin and Sinema with progressives kind of going after them with incendiary rhetoric?
You know, I can't help but go back to the infrastructure. I was there at the bill signing, and he featured Senator Sinema and thanked Senator Manchin for his work on that. I think he's ready to work with everyone. And there are a lot of concerns right now and unmet needs, problems out there, not enough childcare, including in rural areas. And I remember even the Trump administration was talking about that, Bret. Issues with caring for seniors, with the long-term care is still the big elephant in the room. So I think what the president has said is that he's going to go back and look at this big piece of legislation and see how he can divide it up and get some things done. That's what the American people want.
Senator Klobuchar, we appreciate you coming on always, and we'll follow your legislation.